What's up, witches? My name is Taylor and I'm the Tempest Witch here on YouTube, and today is going to be the beginning of my series talking about the runes. I went back and forth trying to understand which one would be easier for people to comprehend, whether I'd go by the three Ets or if I would do it alphabetically. And I decided that alphabetically is probably a little bit easier, so we're going to start with A and then go down to Z, and then there's some that aren't actually letters, that are like conjoined letters. We'll get to that. It doesn't matter. Starting from the top, we are going to start with the rune Ansuz. Ansuz stands for A, the letter A, and represents Odin. So it is the rune of communication, insight, understanding, advice, wisdom, intuition, psychic abilities, just general understanding with your mind is what Ansuz stands for. It's why it's Odin's rune. It's very much how do you use the wisdom that you already have to increase your wisdom. The way that my book is set up is I have the domain that it rules over, so the things that it represents, and then Merkstav, what it means when it is flipped or when it is not quite direct. We talked about Merkstav in the dedication to your runes video. Then I have a section on what you can use it as a talisman for. The runes themselves are sigils and can be used for other things, either by themselves or conjoined with other runes. So what you can use the talisman for, some energy, what kind of energy the rune itself has and what it projects, and then just some general notes that I have on it. So that's how I'm going to run through every video. So we've gone through the domain, all of the things that it represents. Well, not all the things. Let me just go through all the things it represents, because it's a lot. I gave you the general gist, but communications, omens, advice, wisdom, intuition, psychic abilities, order, gods, ancestors, Odin the Allfather, transmission of intelligence, reason, inspiration, language, breath, speech, poetry, spell song, casting, discussion of runes, linguistics, memetics, and etymology. So it's a lot. Pretty much it's wisdom and how you use wisdom and how you transfer wisdom. General idea of Odin, right? If it is Merkstav, which we talked about, is when it is not straight up and down, if it is crooked, if it is sideways, if it is upside down, that is Merkstav. It means it is either the opposite or the adjacent to what the true meaning of it is. What the Merkstav for Ansuz is very much be cautious of manipulation. People will tend to act like they are intellectually superior to you and then use that to manipulate you. So it's a warning to keep in mind who you're surrounding yourself with. In addition, it can be warning that people might be using you for their own gain and for your detriment. Keeping yourself in mind in this is something that it will warn you against. If Ansuz is Merkstav, it can also mean that someone is trying to sway you from your forward direction, someone is trying to hold you back, someone is trying to sway your progress. It is a warning again to recenter yourself, redirect yourself, and figure out what you were working on originally before you were thrown off guard. Ansuz can also be a warning that you yourself have fallen victim to superficiality, that you are giving into vanity too much, because you're allowed to be, confident, but if you give into vanity excessively, it will sway you from forward momentum and forward direction. So don't get too caught up in yourself. Don't become a narcissist. And since Ansuz is also a communication rune, it can also be a warning that your words are not being effectively spoken, or you are teetering away from the truth, whether intentionally or not. Being honest is important, and using the correct words and the correct language to communicate effectively is also very important. Now, if you're already overwhelmed, you're like, this is so many things, that's okay. This is why we're making one video for every rune, because each one has a lot of depth to it, and we want to give each rune the time that it deserves. This is why, as a form of divination, rune casting is very much up to interpretation, because it goes based on what you need at that moment. So you have a large range of things and you can pick and choose what is coming through and what do you need to know. So some things will be completely irrelevant in your interpretation and some things will be spot on, but you alone have to pick and choose what message is trying to come through, which is why rune casting is a little bit difficult for some people, but if you become familiarized with the runes themselves, it becomes easier over time to figure out what the message is. As a talisman, Ansuz is really good for helping you focus and helping you center your energy in order to continue your forward momentum. It promotes your intuition and your psychic abilities and your powers of interpretation. So this rune helps you with understanding the runes, if that makes sense. It also can sharpen your third eye and help you easier carve out your path in the direction that you are going. It's also good for divine inspiration and creativity. So if you're feeling kind of lackluster, if you're feeling kind of stuck in the mud, putting Ansuz somewhere on your person can help you kind of re-energize yourself. So one of the things that I do is I typically will write runes on my wrist, because then every time I look at them, it's a reminder of the talisman being there, and I'm reminded of the influence that is going to be put into my spirit. Just a way to change your energy. You can put them anywhere on your body. I usually do it in pen, but you can do it in lotion as you're moisturizing yourself. You can do it in perfume if you have a roller perfume. Write it on that and then just smooth it out. Any way works. Ansuz's energy is very much mountain air energy. It's very enlightening, it's very airy, it's very uplifting, it's very energetic. But it's not a heavy energy. It's very much just helping you revitalize yourself, if that makes sense. That's the gist of what I've gotten from it. And just some general notes. Each section of my runes, I have a section for notes that I can add to over time, and these are just some of the notes that I have. So when Ansuz appears, expect a message either from someone physical, a spirit, or a deity. So like I said, it is a rune for communication. So oftentimes if you see this rune reoccurring a lot, it's probably because someone's trying to get a hold of you. The gods specifically speak in patterns. So people are like, it's a sign, it's a sign. If it's a one-off, it's probably not a sign. If it's repeated multiple times, they're trying to get your attention. Keep that in mind when you're thinking that something might be a sign. If you're seeing Ansuz repeatedly, the gods are trying to contact you, and Odin specifically might be trying to contact you. It could represent a guide coming into your life, whether that's a spirit guide or an ancestor or a deity. Someone is coming into your life to show you direction and recenter yourself. So it's usually a positive omen. There are some runes that are negative omens, but Ansuz overall is very enlightening, uplifting, and positive. So overall, that is Ansuz, Odin's rune of communication. It is a highly effective rune, and it is definitely a very positive, uplifting energy that you can use wherever you need it. Alright guys, I know this video is a little short. I'm expecting them all to only be reasonably short because we're gonna just do each individual rune with its own video so that you can go and search in case you need some references. I'm gonna enjoy this video series a lot, and I'm hoping that y'all will come along with me because there's 24 runes to do, so if you can stick it out, that would be great. I hope y'all are getting into runes. I hope that even if it's frustrating at times that you'll stick to it because it's so fulfilling. I've tried reading tarot and it just never jived with me, but once I made my own runes, it became so much clearer and so much easier to interpret. So if this is something that's calling to you, definitely stick it out. It's well worth the wait and the effort. Here's the beginning of a journey. Let's get it. Skull, my friends.